Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I want to begin by reminding you of something that's so important, something that often gets lost in the busyness of life. Your time is sacred. It is precious beyond measure. And yet, how many of us at some point or another have given away years of our lives, sometimes without even realizing it, because we were putting someone else's needs before our own? I'm talking about the years we spend staying in relationships, jobs, or situations that drain us. The years spent making choices based on fear, obligation, or a sense of duty that doesn't honor our own needs or dreams. The years that we waste hoping, wishing, and waiting for something to change when, in truth, the only thing that needs to change is us. How many of you have been in a place where you were giving more of yourself than you were getting in return? Maybe you were putting someone else's happiness above your own. Maybe you were sacrificing your peace, your joy, your purpose because you thought you had to. But here's the truth that I want to leave you with today. You don't have to. You do not have to waste another year of your life for them. Because you see, life is happening right now. Every single moment you're waiting, every year you're holding on, every time you tell yourself, maybe next year will be better, is a year you can never get back. It's a year lost in the shuffle of things that weren't meant for you. And what you have to understand is that you are not here to live for anyone else but yourself. You are here to live a life that lights you up, a life that challenges you, a life that brings you peace, love, and purpose. And for that to happen, you have to let go of what's holding you back. So let me ask you, who are you living for? Are you living for that person who has never truly seen your worth? Are you living for the approval of someone who is too busy with their own struggles to even notice your sacrifices? Are you waiting for them to change or for things to get better when the real change needs to happen within you? Because let me tell you something, you deserve more than waiting for someone else to make you feel whole. You deserve more than settling for a life that doesn't inspire you. You deserve more than waiting for someone else to validate your worth, your beauty, your power. So today I want you to do something radical. I want you to choose yourself. I want you to stop wasting time on people or situations that take from you without giving anything in return. Let go of the fear that keeps you in relationships or places that no longer serve you. Stop convincing yourself that one more year of sacrifice will somehow make everything better. It won't. Growth happens when you walk away from what no longer serves you. When you step into the life that's calling you, not the life someone else says you should live. And I promise you, once you make that decision to choose yourself, to honor your own worth, something magical will happen. The right people, the right opportunities, and the right peace will start to flow into your life, and you will wonder how you ever lived any other way. It's time to stop being stuck in the waiting game. You are worthy of the life you dream about right now. You are worthy of love, respect, joy, and fulfillment, not after years of proving yourself, but right now. And no one, not a single soul, has the right to hold you back from that. So make a promise to yourself today. Promise yourself that you will not waste another year of your life waiting for them. Choose you, choose growth, and choose the future that's meant for you. Because your time is now. Most of us live our lives on autopilot, caught up in routines, obligations, and the expectations of others. We give away our time often without even realizing it. We stay in jobs that drain us, in relationships that no longer serve us, or in situations that hold us back from what we truly want to achieve. We feel that we don't have the luxury of saying no or of prioritizing ourselves because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to how much we give, how much we sacrifice, and how much we bend to the demands of the world around us. But what if you stop for a moment and really consider the truth? Every moment you spend doing something that doesn't align with your values, your passions, or your true calling is a moment you'll never get back. Every year you spend staying in a job that doesn't fulfill you, or a relationship that drains you, or a lifestyle that isn't your own, is a year lost. Not just to the world around you, but to you, to your dreams, your potential, your true happiness. Now, I know that life isn't always black and white. Sometimes we make decisions because we have to. We take care of family, we pay bills, we take on obligations because we're responsible people. And there are seasons in life where we need to make those sacrifices. But even then, even in those moments of sacrifice, we have to ask ourselves, is this serving my higher purpose? Is this how I want to be spending my time? We all have a limited number of hours in a day, and how we choose to spend those hours defines not just our schedule, but the essence of our lives. You could be spending your time on something that elevates you toward your goals, that fills you with joy. Or you could be spending it on things, people, and situations that deplete you, that keep you stuck, that drain you of energy and passion. So ask yourself, what's the cost of giving away my time? Every time you let someone else take your time, whether it's someone who needs your attention, someone who drains your energy, or a situation that doesn't align with your goals, you are, in essence, sacrificing a part of your life. And when you do that over time, you lose sight of the bigger picture. You stop living on purpose and you start living in reaction to everyone else's needs and demands. You stop being the architect of your own life and start living by default. But this is a lesson we often learn the hard way, especially those of us who are caregivers, nurturers, and people pleasers by nature. We want to make everything better. We see someone struggling and we jump in, sometimes without even realizing it, to try to fix things for them. We may offer support, advice, or comfort, thinking we're doing what's best for them. And we may even feel validated in the moment, thinking that by doing this, we are proving our love or our worth. But over time, this can become exhausting. We can give so much of ourselves, so much of our energy that we start to feel empty. We may lose our own sense of joy, our own sense of peace as we pour everything into someone else's emotional well-being. We end up so focused on fixing their problems that we neglect our own needs, our own desires, our own happiness. Here's the hard truth: no matter how much you want someone to be happy, you cannot make them happy if they're not ready to be happy themselves. You can't heal someone who doesn't want to heal. You can't fill the void in someone's heart if they don't believe they are worthy of it. And you can't be the answer to someone else's pain if they don't take responsibility for their own healing. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It doesn't mean you turn your back on people you love or stop supporting them. But it does mean that you stop taking on the emotional responsibility for their happiness. You stop believing that their mood, their contentment, or their peace of mind is your burden to bear. When you begin to understand that their happiness is not yours to fix, you create space for both you and them to experience life on your own terms. By releasing the weight of that responsibility, you also give them the freedom to own their own emotional state. You give them the space to heal, to grow, and to learn the lessons they need to learn on their own. You allow them to take responsibility for their own feelings, their own choices, and their own journey. It's not selfish to prioritize your own emotional health. It's necessary. In fact, it's only when you are whole and at peace within yourself that you can truly show up for others in a way that is healthy and sustainable. And here's something even more important to realize: when you stop believing you are responsible for someone else's happiness, you stop letting other people's moods or choices control your emotional state. You stop giving away your power. You stop letting someone else's disappointment, anger, or sadness dictate how you feel. You reclaim your inner peace and your ability to live authentically. When we realize that we can't carry the emotional burdens of others, it's not a rejection of them, but an act of love for ourselves and for them. By stepping back, we allow them the chance to stand on their own feet and face their challenges. And by choosing not to take on their pain, we create the space for them to find their own way. In the long run, this is the most loving thing you can do for them because it encourages their growth, independence, and emotional resilience. So stop apologizing for taking care of yourself. Stop feeling guilty for not being able to fix everything for everyone around you. It's not your responsibility to make everyone happy. It's your responsibility to honor your own peace, to protect your own joy, and to show up in the world as your authentic self. When you do that, not only do you give yourself the gift of inner freedom, but you also set the example for others to take responsibility for their own emotional well-being. Remember, your happiness is yours to nurture, and theirs is theirs to nurture. You are worthy of living a life where you are not carrying the emotional weight of others on your shoulders. You deserve to live in peace, knowing that you are doing your part in supporting those around you while respecting your own need for balance, for joy, and for growth. Growth is personal and often uncomfortable. It's something that we all experience in different ways at different times, but what's common is that it rarely happens without some degree of discomfort. In fact, growth almost always involves stepping out of our comfort zones, challenging old beliefs, facing difficult truths, and doing things that at first feel unnatural or even painful. But this discomfort is the very catalyst for change, the spark that ignites transformation. Many of us have been conditioned to seek comfort, to avoid pain, and to settle for what's familiar because it feels safe. We want to live in a world where things make sense, where we can predict the outcome of our decisions, where there are no surprises and no emotional upheaval. But the reality is that growth doesn't come from staying in the same place, from taking the easy route, or from playing it safe. It comes from pushing yourself beyond what you know, beyond what feels comfortable. It comes from being willing to face the parts of yourself that you've ignored, suppressed, or avoided because they're too painful or too confronting. Think about it. Every time you've had to learn something new, whether it was a skill, a lesson in relationships, or a personal challenge, there was discomfort involved. Maybe you had to confront a fear. Maybe you had to let go of something you've been holding on to for too long. Maybe you had to forgive someone, including yourself. Whatever it wasn't easy. But it was necessary for your growth. In those moments of discomfort, you learned something new about yourself, and that learning became the foundation for your next step forward. The truth is that growth often happens in moments of crisis, in moments of doubt, in moments when everything seems to be falling apart. It's when we're forced to face the things we'd rather ignore, or when life knocks us down in ways we didn't anticipate, that we discover who we truly are. We discover our resilience, our strength, our capacity to overcome. But in order to access that, we first have to embrace the discomfort, the uncertainty, the pain that comes with stepping into new territory. We live in a world that often prioritizes instant gratification, the quick fix, and the avoidance of pain. But real, lasting growth doesn't happen overnight. It's not about quick solutions or shortcuts. It's about the steady, sometimes slow work of digging deep, doing the internal work, and allowing ourselves to evolve over time. This process can be messy. It can feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It can make us question ourselves, our choices, and our paths. And yet, it's in this very process that we discover the depths of who we are and who we are becoming. When we think about growth, we often imagine it as something that is linear, something that happens in a straight line from one point to the next. But growth is rarely a straight path. It's more like a spiral, with moments of progress, moments of retreat, moments of clarity, and moments of confusion. At times, it can feel like we're going around in circles, but each time we revisit a challenge, we're doing so from a higher perspective. Each time we face our fears, face our limitations, or face our own wounds, we have the opportunity to heal, to learn, and to rise to the next level. It's easy to get frustrated with the discomfort, to think that we're not making progress because we're still struggling. But the struggle itself is a part of the growth process. The discomfort is a sign that you're on the right track. It means you're stretching beyond your current capacity, stretching beyond who you've been in order to become the person you're meant to be. And though it might feel uncomfortable at times, it's in this very discomfort that you are developing the skills, the wisdom, and the resilience you need to succeed. It's also important to remember that growth is personal. It's unique to each of us. What feels like growth to one person may not feel the same to someone else. We all have our own timelines, our own challenges, and our own set of circumstances. So as you go through your own journey of growth, be mindful not to compare yourself to others. Don't judge your progress by someone else's standard. Your path is your own, and it will unfold in the way that it's meant to. So when you find yourself facing discomfort, don't run from it. Don't shrink from it. Step into it. Know that you are growing, even if it doesn't always feel like it in the moment. The discomfort you feel today is the strength you will carry tomorrow. And that, my friend, is the beauty of personal growth. It's the evolution of you. You deserve to live authentically. And yet, how many of us have spent years, decades, even living in ways that aren't true to who we really are? We've conformed to expectations, followed prescribed paths, or shaped ourselves into what others wanted us to be, all in the name of fitting in, being loved, or avoiding conflict. We've told ourselves that we have to sacrifice our own truth for the sake of others' approval, for job security, for family harmony, or even just to maintain the illusion of control in our lives. But here's the thing, living inauthentically doesn't make life easier. It doesn't protect you from hurt or rejection. In fact, it only robs you of the chance to experience the fullness of who you are and to live the life you're truly meant to live. When we live authentically, we show up in the world as ourselves unapologetically real. We stop trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for us. We stop pretending to be something we're not in order to gain validation or acceptance. Instead, we find the courage to stand in our own power, to embrace our quirks, our imperfections, and our unique gifts, and to live in a way that feels right to us, not in a way that pleases others or meets some external standard of success. Living authentically isn't always easy. It's often uncomfortable, sometimes even scary. The world can be judgmental, critical, and unforgiving, and the pressure to conform can be overwhelming. We fear rejection, fear not measuring up, fear the consequences of stepping outside the lines that others have drawn for us. But the real cost of not living authentically is far greater than any temporary discomfort or fear. The cost is your own sense of self. The cost is your happiness, your peace, your sense of purpose. You deserve to live a life that reflects who you truly are, not who someone else wants you to be. You deserve to speak your truth even when your voice shakes. You deserve to make decisions that are in alignment with your values and desires, not based on the expectations or opinions of others. You deserve to choose a path that excites you, challenges you, and fills you with a sense of fulfillment, not a path that you're on because it's the right one according to societal norms or because it's what everyone else is doing. For far too long, many of us have been conditioned to believe that we need permission to be ourselves, that we need to fit a certain image, hold a specific title, or meet a particular benchmark in order to be worthy or accepted. But the truth is, you were born worthy, you were born enough. Your uniqueness, your individuality, your essence, these are the very things that make you valuable and beautiful. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you in all your glorious, authentic, imperfect, and magnificent truth. Living authentically means being real with yourself first. It means understanding your own desires, acknowledging your passions, and accepting your flaws. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning, the walls you've built to protect yourself, and reconnecting with the essence of who you really are. It's not about perfection. Authenticity is messy. It's raw, it's real. It's owning your story, every part of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and saying, this is me, and I am enough just as I am. But authenticity is also a practice. It's not something you just do once and then you're done. It's a continual process of aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your true self. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? What do I believe? What kind of life do I truly want to live? And then taking the steps to make that life a reality, even if it feels risky or unconventional. It might mean saying no when you're expected to say yes, standing up for yourself in situations where you've been silent, or walking away from relationships, jobs, or environments that don't honor you. But it's also about saying yes to the things that fill you with joy, that make you come alive, that resonate with your soul. When you begin to live authentically, something amazing happens. You start to attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences that align with who you truly are. You stop wasting energy trying to be something you're not, and instead you create space for what is meant for you. Authenticity opens the door to genuine connection, to deeper relationships, and to a more fulfilling life. Living authentically doesn't mean you'll never face challenges or difficulties. It doesn't mean everyone will always understand you, or that you'll never face rejection. But what it does mean is that you will have the strength and clarity to navigate those challenges with integrity because you are grounded in the truth of who you are. When you know who you are, when you embrace your authentic self, the opinions of others lose their power over you. You stop seeking validation from outside sources because you've already found your worth within. You deserve to live authentically because you are the only you that exists in the world. Your voice matters, your dreams matter, your heart matters. And it's time to stop hiding, stop pretending, and stop playing small. It's time to show up fully in the world, exactly as you are. Your authenticity is a gift to the world, and it's a gift to yourself. You don't need to wait for permission to live your truth. You are already worthy of that. Live boldly, live freely, and live authentically, because that is where the magic happens. The power of letting go is something that many of us struggle to fully understand or embrace. Letting go is often seen as a weakness, a surrender, or an admission of defeat. We're taught to hold on, to persist, to fight through challenges, and to never give up. But sometimes the greatest act of strength is knowing when it's time to release something, whether it's a belief, a person, a situation, or an attachment that no longer serves us. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about choosing freedom. It's about making room in your life for something better, something more aligned with who you are and who you're becoming. Letting go is an act of courage because it requires you to face the unknown. It asks you to trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes next, even when it feels like you're leaving behind something important, something familiar. But in truth, it's only when you release what's weighing you down that you make space for new opportunities, growth, and experiences to enter your life. We hold on to so many things: toxic relationships, past hurts, regrets, old versions of ourselves, limiting beliefs, and the fear of what might happen if we let go. We hold on because we're afraid. Afraid of loss, afraid of change, afraid that if we release something, we won't be able to fill that space with something better. But the irony is, the very thing we're holding on to might be the thing that's holding us back. It might be the very thing that's keeping us stuck in a loop of frustration, pain, or stagnation. Letting go can look different for everyone. For some, it's walking away from a relationship that no longer brings peace, no longer brings growth, or no longer feels aligned with who they are. It's recognizing that love isn't supposed to hurt and that it's okay to let go of someone even if it means they're not a part of your future. For others, it's letting go of the story they've told themselves about who they are. Maybe it's the story of being a failure or not being good enough or not deserving of love or success. Letting go of these limiting beliefs is an essential step in stepping into your full potential. Sometimes letting go means accepting the reality that things didn't turn out the way we expected. It means acknowledging that we've done everything we could, and now it's time to walk away. It means accepting that certain goals, dreams, or relationships were only meant for a season, and that season has come to an end. That realization can be heartbreaking, but it's also liberating. It frees you from holding on to a vision of the past that no longer serves you and allows you to focus on creating a future that's aligned with your true desires. Letting go also means releasing control. We live in a world that celebrates control over our circumstances, our relationships, our careers, but control is often an illusion. No matter how hard we try, we can't control the actions of others, the outcome of certain situations, or the way life unfolds. Letting go means surrendering the need to control everything and trusting that life will unfold as it is meant to. It's a recognition that no matter how much we try to plan or force things, we can't control the bigger picture. What we can control, however, is how we respond to it. We can choose how we show up, how we handle challenges, and how we move forward. This doesn't mean letting go is always easy. In fact, it's often incredibly difficult. It requires us to confront our fears, our attachment to the past, and our resistance to change. Letting go forces us to face the possibility of uncertainty and to trust that something better is waiting on the other side of our fear. But it's in this very process of surrendering and trusting that we experience growth. Letting go is not just an act of releasing, it's an act of trusting that the universe or life or whatever you believe in has a plan for us that is bigger and better than anything we could ever imagine. The truth is, you can't move forward if you're constantly looking backward. You can't embrace the future if you're too busy clinging to the past. When you let go, you free up emotional and mental space for new ideas, new opportunities, and new experiences. You create room for clarity, for peace, for healing. And sometimes that space is exactly what you need to become the person you're meant to be. When you're no longer weighed down by the baggage of the past, you can step into the present with a sense of freedom and excitement for what's ahead. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean that you erase the people, the memories, or the experiences that shaped you. It means releasing the emotional attachment to those things so they no longer have the power to keep you stuck. It means acknowledging that those experiences were a part of your journey, but they don't define who you are today or who you can become in the future. By letting go, you release the hold they have over you and give yourself permission to move forward, unburdened. And here's something important to remember: letting go doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It doesn't mean you won't experience grief or sadness or regret. But it does mean that you're allowing yourself the space to heal. You're giving yourself the opportunity to honor your feelings, to process the emotions, and to come to a place of acceptance. And in that process, you'll find that the pain lessens and the weight becomes lighter. You begin to see that the act of letting go is in itself a form of self-love and self-care. The power of letting go is transformative. It frees you from the past, opens up the future, and allows you to live fully in the present. It's an act of courage, an act of trust, and an act of trust, and an act of profound self-respect. When you let go, you give yourself the gift of freedom, freedom to heal, to grow, and to create the life you truly deserve. The danger of settling for less is something we often don't see until it's too late, or until we're deep in the rut of complacency, justifying our choices with reasons that sound logical but feel hollow in our hearts. It's so easy to fall into the trap of accepting less than we deserve. We settle because it feels safer, because we fear the unknown, because we're tired, or because we're told that we should be grateful for what we have. But the truth is, settling for less isn't just about lowering your expectations. It's about shrinking your potential, diminishing your worth, and stifling the possibility of a life that could be so much more fulfilling and abundant. We live in a society that constantly pushes us to make compromises. From the jobs we take to the relationships we accept, we are often told that we should just be content with what we have, that we should be grateful for any opportunity that comes our way, or that we should be happy with less because it's better than nothing. But when we accept just enough or good enough, we start to stop dreaming, stop growing, and stop believing that something more is possible. We begin to believe that the small, safe life we've created is all we can expect, and that our deepest desires are unattainable or unrealistic. When you settle, you give up on the possibility of something greater. You stop believing that you can have the life you truly desire. Instead of reaching for what lights you up, you choose what's comfortable or convenient, even if it makes you feel unfulfilled, uninspired, or stuck. It's a false sense of security that keeps you tethered to the familiar, even though the familiar is holding you back from growth and joy. Settling for less also affects your relationship with yourself. When you allow yourself to live beneath your potential, you start to lose sight of your own worth. You start to think that you don't deserve better, that the dream job, the fulfilling relationship, the vibrant life are for someone else, someone more talented, more lucky, or more deserving than you. But no one else is more deserving of joy, success, or fulfillment than you are. You are worthy of a life that makes you come alive, of relationships that nourish your soul, and of work that excites you. By settling, you are not honoring yourself, your gifts, or your potential. You are letting the fear of change, the fear of failure, or the fear of the unknown dictate the life you live. The most dangerous part of settling for less is that it can easily become your default. You tell yourself this is just how things are, and you stop reaching for more. You stop envisioning a life beyond your current circumstances. You may even begin to convince yourself that you're not capable of anything else, that this is as good as it gets, or that you've missed your chance. But the truth is, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to pursue what you really want, to set new goals, to make a shift. The only thing that's stopping you from creating the life you desire is your willingness to settle for the life you have right now. Letting go of the habit of settling is one of the most empowering things you can do. It requires you to get clear on what you truly want, to trust that you are worthy of it, and to take courageous action toward creating a life that reflects your deepest desires. It means making the decision to let go of old beliefs that have kept you small, to step away from the comfort of mediocrity, and to take responsibility for the life you are choosing to live. You don't have to settle for less. You have the power to create a life that is abundant, fulfilling, and true to who you are. It may not be easy. It may require you to take risks, to get uncomfortable, and to step into the unknown. But the rewards of living a life that is aligned with your values, your passions, and your purpose are immeasurable. When you stop settling for less, you open yourself to the possibility of so much more. And that, my friend, is where the magic begins. Healing starts when you choose yourself. It sounds simple, but for many of us, it's one of the hardest things to do. We're conditioned to put others first, to prioritize the needs of our family, our friends, our work, and our responsibilities. We're told to be selfless, to give without expecting anything in return, and to always be there for others. And while caring for those around us is important, there comes a point when you realize that if you don't choose yourself, if you don't make your own well-being a priority, healing cannot begin. Choosing yourself is an act of radical self-love. It's a decision to honor your own needs, your emotions, and your well-being, even when it feels like doing so might disappoint others or create discomfort. Healing begins when you stop sacrificing your happiness for the sake of others, when you stop ignoring your own pain or pretending it doesn't exist. When you choose yourself, you are giving yourself permission to feel, to heal, and to be whole again. You stop running on empty and start filling your own cup first. For so many of us, healing is delayed because we've spent so much time and energy trying to fix everyone else around us. We're afraid of being labeled selfish or uncaring, so we keep putting ourselves last. But the truth is, you can't give what you don't have. You can't heal others if you are running on fumes. You can't pour from an empty cup. Choosing yourself means giving yourself the care, the space, and the love you need to heal so that you can show up in the world as your best, most vibrant self. Choosing yourself means acknowledging your pain, your struggles, and your needs instead of pretending that everything is fine or pushing through. It's about giving yourself permission to take the time you need to rest, to process, and to recover. It's about setting boundaries that protect your emotional and mental health and saying no when something doesn't serve you. Choosing yourself is about being honest with yourself about what you need and not feeling guilty or ashamed for asking for it. When you choose yourself, you stop waiting for permission from others to take care of yourself. You stop looking for external validation to confirm that your needs are valid. You stop sacrificing your joy, your peace, and your happiness for the comfort of others. You realize that your own healing is just as important as anyone else's. And when you choose yourself, you create the space for real transformation to happen. You open yourself up to the possibility of growth, of clarity, of peace, and of real self-empowerment. Choosing yourself is a choice to stop living in the past, to stop holding on to old wounds, old hurts, or old patterns that no longer serve you. Healing begins when you decide that you're ready to let go of what's been holding you back, whether it's old grudges, unresolved trauma, or limiting beliefs about who you are. It's about choosing to step into a new chapter, one where you are the main character and where your needs, your happiness, and your healing come first. The road to healing isn't always linear. It can be messy. It can be uncomfortable. But choosing yourself is the first step toward creating a life where you feel whole again. It's about recognizing that your value is not tied to what you do for others or how much you give, but to who you are as a person. You are worthy of healing, and you are worthy of feeling good about yourself. You don't have to earn love or peace or joy. You already deserve it simply because you exist. Healing starts when you choose yourself because it's the moment you stop denying your own worth. It's when you finally realize that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. and that you deserve to live a life that nourishes you, not one that drains you. When you choose yourself, you give yourself permission to heal in your own time, at your own pace, and in your own way. You stop looking outside of yourself for the answers, and you start trusting the wisdom within you. This is a process. It won't happen overnight. You will have moments of doubt, moments when it feels hard to put yourself first, especially when you've spent years putting others ahead of you. But know this: every time you choose yourself, you are moving closer to the person you're meant to be. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are healing. Every time you listen to your body, your heart, and your soul, and give yourself the care and compassion you need, you are taking another step on the path of healing. Choosing yourself is the key to unlocking the life you deserve. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, and your joy. It's about realizing that you are worthy of healing, that your emotions matter, and that your emotions matter, and that you don't have to sacrifice your well-being to make others happy. When you choose yourself, you honor the fullness of who you are, and in doing so, you create the space for your life to be filled with love, abundance, and peace. So choose yourself, not out of arrogance, but out of love. Choose to heal. Choose to live authentically, without apology and without compromise. Choosing yourself is the greatest gift you can give yourself, because it is the first step toward a life that's truly aligned with your deepest desires and purpose. And once you make that choice, you will see that healing isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Living in limbo means you're not fully engaged in your life, you're not present, you're not making decisions with intention, and you're not taking the actions necessary to create the future you desire. Instead, you're caught between what could be and what is, lingering in uncertainty, afraid to take the next step. And in doing so, you allow time to pass you by, giving it away to indecision and inaction. But here's the reality: time doesn't wait for anyone. It moves forward relentlessly, whether you're moving with it or not. It's easy to justify staying in this space, thinking that you're just being cautious, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the signs to point you in the right direction. We all tell ourselves that we need more time, that we need to feel more certain, or that we're just being prudent. But the longer you stay in limbo, the more you delay your own growth. The more you remain stagnant, the more you prevent yourself from stepping into the life you're capable of living. When you're in limbo, you're not making progress, you're not moving toward your goals, you're not getting closer to the person you want to become. You're not living in alignment with your dreams, you're simply existing in a state of paralysis. That's why time spent in limbo is time wasted. It's time that could be used to create, to explore, to take risks, to fail and learn, to grow and evolve. The world moves forward, and you have to choose whether or not you're going to move with it or get left behind. Indecision is a killer of potential. We often mistake waiting for the right moment as a sign of patience or wisdom. But in reality, it's just fear in disguise. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of failure. Fear of the unknown. And that fear traps us in the cycle of hesitation and doubt, keeping us from taking action and moving forward. The longer we stay in limbo, the more our confidence erodes, and the more we question our ability to make decisions at all. We become paralyzed by the belief that we need more time, more information, or more certainty before we can make a move. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect time, and there will always be unknowns. Life is messy. Decisions are rarely clear-cut. But that doesn't mean you should stop making them. Time spent in limbo is also time spent in a kind of emotional and mental limbo. When we don't make decisions and take action, we keep ourselves in a state of uncertainty. That uncertainty creates stress, anxiety, and frustration. You begin to wonder if you're doing the right thing, if you've missed your chance, or if you're even on the right path. And this constant mental tug of war keeps you from being fully present in your life. It keeps you distracted, drained, and disconnected from what truly matters. It drains your energy because you're investing it in what ifs and maybes rather than in action, progress, or clarity. Inaction also keeps you from finding out what's possible. The longer you stay in limbo, the less you get to experience the rewards of taking action, whether it's learning something new, gaining new insights, or discovering the strength and resilience you didn't know you had. When you're stuck in indecision, you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to fail, to try, to explore, and to grow. You're not allowing yourself to test the waters and see what works, what doesn't, and what lessons can be learned. But action, even imperfect action, teaches you more than sitting in uncertainty ever will. The truth is, there is no magic moment when everything falls into place and the path ahead becomes perfectly clear. The world is full of variables, and life doesn't wait for everything to be lined up just right. You have to create the clarity you seek by moving forward, by taking small steps, by making choices and learning from them. Every decision you make, no matter how small, moves you closer to a sense of direction. Every action you take, no matter how uncertain, brings you closer to the life you want. But when you stay stuck in limbo, you avoid the lessons that come from living fully, from making mistakes, from taking risks, and from finding out what works. Staying in limbo doesn't keep you safe, it just keeps you stagnant. You might think that by waiting for the perfect time or the right moment you're playing it safe, but in reality, you're just avoiding the discomfort that comes with change, with uncertainty, and with unknown. You're avoiding the very things that make life exciting and meaningful. Change is hard, it's messy, it's uncertain. But it's also the only way to grow, to learn, and to move forward. And the longer you stay in limbo, the more you miss out on the chance to evolve. It's time to stop living in the land of what if and maybe someday. Time is a gift, and how you spend it matters. You don't get these moments back. So if there's something you want to do, a dream you want to chase, a decision you need to make, take the leap. You may not have all the answers, and the road ahead might not be clear, but that's the point. You don't need to know everything to take the next step. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates clarity. The longer you wait, the more you delay your own growth, and the more you hold yourself back from creating the life you want. Taking control of your own narrative is one of the most empowering actions you can take in your life. It means deciding that you are the author of your story and not letting anyone else dictate who you are, what you're capable of, or where your life is headed. Too often, we allow the world around us, society's expectations, other people's opinions, our past experiences to shape our sense of self and direct the course of our lives. We let ourselves become defined by the roles others assign to us or the limitations we've internalized. But the truth is, you don't have to let anyone else write your story. You have the pen in your hand, and you are the one who can decide how it unfolds. For so many people, external forces feel like they have the power to determine their path. We've all heard the voices of doubt, either from others or from within ourselves, telling us that we can't have what we want, that we're not good enough, or that we don't deserve success or happiness. Whether it's the societal pressures that tell us how we should look, behave, or succeed, or the personal narratives we've absorbed from past failures, they can leave us feeling small, invisible, or unsure of our own worth. But when you take control of your own narrative, you begin to rewrite those stories. You stop being a passive character in your life and start actively shaping it. You decide to move from the background into the forefront. Taking control of your own narrative is about recognizing the stories you've been telling yourself about who you are and asking whether they are true or if they are simply the result of old conditioning or external influences. How many times have you allowed your past mistakes to define your future possibilities? How often do you let other people's judgments or opinions make you question your own value or potential? When you take control of your narrative, you don't let past experiences hold you hostage. You don't let them box you into a version of yourself that is outdated or no longer true. Your past does not define your future unless you allow it to. At the core of taking control of your narrative is the realization that you are in charge of how you see yourself. It's about shifting your mindset and recognizing that your worth is not dictated by your circumstances, your mistakes, or how others perceive you. It's about understanding that your story is still being written, and you have the power to change the plot at any time. You can decide who you are and who you are becoming. You can choose to step into your full potential, to embrace your strengths, and to acknowledge your challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as limitations. It's also about being honest with yourself. It's easy to let the expectations of others, whether they are family, friends, or society, steer your choices. We all want to be loved, accepted, and validated, and sometimes we end up living our lives according to what others expect of us rather than what we truly want for ourselves. But when you take control of your own narrative, you get clear about your own values, your own desires, and your own vision for your life. You stop living according to a script that was handed to you and begin writing your own. This takes courage because it means letting go of the need for external approval and stepping into your authentic self, even if that means disappointing some people along the way. Taking control also means recognizing that you can create a future that aligns with your own values and goals. You are not bound by your current circumstances or your current limitations. You are not locked into a story of I can't or it's too late. Your potential is limitless. When you take control of your narrative, you take responsibility for your future. You set the tone for what's next, instead of letting life's circumstances determine your direction. You move from being a victim of your circumstances to becoming a creator of your reality. Taking control of your narrative also means reframing your failures. So many of us allow our setbacks to define us, to convince us that we are somehow not capable, not worthy, or not good enough. But failure is not the end of your story. It's simply a chapter. It's a lesson. It's part of your growth. When you take control of your narrative, you stop seeing failure as a sign of your inadequacy and start seeing it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and try again. You recognize that every challenge, every setback, and every disappointment is part of your journey, and you have the power to decide how it affects you. You can choose to rise from it, to move forward stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So take the pen back. Start writing the next chapter with purpose. Decide today that you are the author of your life and that no one else gets to write your story for you. The next chapter is yours to create. And it's never too late to take control and shape it into the life you truly want. For many of us, understanding this truth can be a challenge. We've been taught by society, by our families, by our experiences that we must prove our worth, work for our value, or even sacrifice our own needs in order to deserve these fundamental human rights. We've been conditioned to believe that love is something we must earn, that respect must be granted based on our behavior or status, and that peace is a luxury reserved for those who have it all together. This mindset leads us to constantly chase validation, approval, and external markers of success, all while losing sight of the fact that our worth is not something we can lose, and it's certainly not something that depends on others' recognition. So often we look for peace in external things, material possessions, accolades, relationships, or success, believing that if we just have these things, we'll finally feel at peace. But the truth is, peace comes from within. It comes from knowing that you are enough just as you are. It comes from accepting that not everything is in your control and that you can let go of the need to fix everything or make everything perfect. Peace is found in the acceptance of yourself and of life as it is. When you recognize that you are worthy of peace, you give yourself permission to step away from toxic environments, negative self-talk, and unhealthy relationships. You give yourself the gift of stillness, the gift of emotional clarity, and the gift of space to simply breathe and be.